Jimmy Ng's parents are hoping some good can come from his death. Ng was a 31-year-old RCMP constable who was killed last Sunday in Richmond, BC, when his police cruiser was hit broadside by a car speeding through a red light. It's suspected the driver was street racing. His parents are appealing to authorities to change the law to make sure what happened to their son doesn't happen again.
We want the judicial system put a little heavier penalty to do something about this criminal driving behavior.
The crash that killed Constable Ng was only the latest in dozens of accidents when young drivers turned city streets into racetracks. But despite those accidents, nothing has slowed down those drivers' need for speed. Here's Natalie Clancy with a look inside the often hidden world of illegal street racing.
By day, he's a 3D animator, a 22-year-old who creates intimidating characters for video games. But by night, Graham Chan enters a whole other world. After midnight on a back road in an industrial park, street racers like Chan scream to the finish. A test of driving skill and engine power, a dance with danger.
This is a good race. Good racing. We're all not crazy guys driving around the street trying to hurt people.
The car was a graduation gift, a $25,000 reward for good marks. Then Chan spent more than $20,000 of his own money building what he calls his ride into a high-tech race car.
It's my pride and joy. It's Acura Integra. Fuel management is, you can see your airflow ratio around the stage over here.
It's his cockpit. A computer controls fuel. Another gauge shows the boost on his turbocharger. It's all about image and impressing 16-year-old wannabe racers like Cam Atwell.
What would you do if you had a car like that?
I'd race it, roll up and pick up a whole bunch of chicks.
They call it a chick magnet. It's also a cop magnet. Chan's got a few tickets for modifying the car and one for speeding. He's well aware they're watching. He's well aware of all the deaths. The latest early Sunday morning, an RCMP officer on his way to a call was rammed side on when a Honda Civic plowed right through a red light. Constable Jimmy Ng died instantly. The driver fled in a second car. Witnesses say it looked like the two cars were racing. Corporal Peter Thiessen says police are investigating that possibility because the speed was so high.
We do have, based on the information from our reconstructionists and our analysts, fairly accurate information in regards to the speed. I think one just has to look at the damage to the vehicle and you can determine for yourself.
In the last year in the Vancouver area alone, speed has killed several young drivers and injured nearly a dozen others. In the last 2 years, 2 innocent bystanders lost their lives crossing the street in the path of a race. This is all that was left of a BMW that hit a light pole in a high-speed race on Valentine's Day.
This area right here, this is the intersection of this recent street racing death. I went to high school with them, you know, and I don't like to see anybody die, but, you know, you play with matches, you get burned. What's up, bud? How's it going? Not too bad, how you been? I want to advance my timing just a little bit. Maybe that'll give a little bit of extra oomph for the third gear.
Show me where the turbo is.
Yeah, watch out, it's hot.
That's turbo.
Yeah.
Speed is like a drug. Once you get it, then you want more.
Speed is what John Knowles is selling. Dangerous or not, his garage is busy.
The customer bought this motor out of the Integra. We dropped it into a Civic, and you can't even tell.
It's more just about, you know, the music, the cars, the styles, right? The girls, all that. What brings us together is a subculture. I definitely think it's growing. Yeah, it's getting big.
Ooh. Civic eats a Corvette.
Street racing is all about outdoing the other driver, then bragging about it, often online. Racers share racing spots, mechanics tips, and video on dozens of websites. We logged into chat rooms across the country to get a look at the racing scene in Winnipeg, Ottawa, Toronto, just about everywhere.
Where was this?
They watch illegal races from as far away as Japan.
And this time, an innocent bystander, a senior, was struck.
They also watch the nightly news, and it's bad. On this night, 2 racers hit an elderly woman in broad daylight.
Modified cars are going to get the rap for this.
It's sad that it happened. Experienced drivers with too much power.
No, it's not cars, it's not power, it's the driver.
Yeah.
Do you think anything the police or anyone else can do will actually stop street racing?
There's nothing you can do. Everyone here, around here that does it, I bet their dads did it, things like that. It's just, there's nothing you can do. You can give us tickets, you can, do whatever, but it's too hard to counteract.
Woo! That thing's so fast, man.
The big organized races with 200 to 300 cars are less frequent. Now it's almost entirely spontaneous. So how do you fight a crime that lasts just 14 seconds?
In Richmond, police are so fed up with street racing that they've begun a zero-tolerance policy on anything on the road that's been modified to go faster.
Your vehicle is not safe to be on the road right now, and you have to get it fixed before you can put it back on the road.
The car's exhaust has been altered, the windows tinted, and the suspension's been lowered.
The clearance in the back here, you can see I can barely get my finger in here, and there's probably some evidence of rubbing on the tire.
If it's lowered, it just means that the shocks are harder, right?
Are you a street racer?
No, I'm not.
But Eddie Lee will have to walk home tonight. Traffic officer Tony Bernard has no sympathy for the drivers of souped-up sports cars.
We're not going to tolerate it. Our community is not going to tolerate it, and we're basically fed up. Okay. Just testing the noise level at idle. Good.
I know it's not your problem because you're only doing your job and everything, but...
No amount of talking works. They ticket, they tow, no exceptions.
Your exhaust alone is an inspection.
I was told it was going to be a box one.
Street racing has forced officers to get creative. They've shut down popular racing strips with simple medians and curbs to narrow the roads. But that only solves part of the problem.
It's very, very difficult to put in traffic calming devices for these spur-of-the-moment street racing.
Chan agreed to take the CBC along for a race last spring to show that there are 2 kinds of racers. Ones who cause accidents and will race anytime, anywhere, and guys like him who only race on deserted streets when the right opponent comes along.
I'll just be pulled up at a red light. Someone will pull beside me and kind of rev their engine and say, let's go.
What do you do?
I don't usually go. Not anymore.
What did you used to do?
I don't know. It depends if my parents are going to see this or not.
Where do you usually start?
Right here.
Oh, yeah? How far?
Just go to train tracks or something. Nothing too crazy.
I didn't hit the train tracks.
Still beat me, but I'm only boosting 3 pounds of boost.
They decide it's safe to try for best out of 3, but it's not Chan's night.
I'm pretty happy with how I went. I only lost by a couple car lengths.
Did you guys know each other before tonight?
No.
So this is sort of how it works, eh? You just find each other and...
Yeah, you just meet up and go for a run.
We are very safe. Usually we have someone down at the other end with walkie-talkies, making sure that they can see further ahead than we can.
But you don't tonight. Like, what if someone came along this road?
Usually we can see them in time.
I was told it was going to be a box one.
They have no regard for other users of the highway or...
Constable Bernard says there's no such thing as a responsible street racer. He says drivers need to grow up and take their need for speed to a legal track. He's seen more crashes than he cares to count, and nothing compares to the aftermath of a street race.
What is going through a person's mind at the time that they know that they're lost control of that vehicle, they know it's going to hurt. It's got to be sheer terror.
Now, car enthusiasts can expect an even tougher crackdown. Graham Chan's decided racing isn't worth the risk. His car is now only seen at car shows. But as the RCMP and a community mourn the life of a 31-year-old officer, police are more determined than ever to put the brakes on drivers who seem to think they're invincible. For The National, I'm Natalie Clancy in Richmond.